All right, with this video, we are going to talk about cracking the affine cipher. All right, we did this with the shift cipher. We're going to see if we can describe how to do this with the affine cipher as well. Now, just like with the shift cipher, we are going to use the same idea of statistical analysis. All right, but it's going to require a little bit more effort this time. So we know that the affine cipher works in the following way. We encrypt each letter in our alphabet. All right, so let's say we have a letter that is represented by the number X. All right, we could represent every number or every letter in our alphabet by a number. So we're going to represent some letter by the number X. All right, 0 to 25. We encrypt it by taking X and multiplying it by our key S and adding the shift key T and doing all of this mod 26. All right, so S and T, those are our keys. X, that's the letter of the plain text. All right, so this is how we take a letter from our plain text and encrypt it into a letter from the ciphertext. All right, so the goal in breaking this encryption is we want to find the keys, S and T. All right, so now instead of with the shift cipher, we only had to find one number. We had to find the shift key. Now we have to find two numbers, all right? And so this makes things a little bit harder. For the statistical analysis, we need two pieces of information because we're looking now for two different numbers. So we can't just figure out which letter corresponds to E. We need to figure out another letter correspondence. So one technique for doing this is to find both the most frequent letter, all right, so that'd be E, and the least frequent. Because we know that some of the least frequent letters that show up in English language is Q and Z. So if you look for the least frequent letter that shows up in your ciphertext, then you could make a guess that maybe that is either Q or Z. All right, another one is you could find the two most frequent letters. And assume that one of them is E and the other one is maybe T or S or R. We have that table in the video that described kind of the second tier of most frequent letters that show up in the English language. All right, but all of this goes back to a really key point. So it gets a star. You're going to have to take multiple attempts. Probably the first time that you try and crack this cipher, you're going to get it wrong. Because you're going to make a particular assumption, and it's going to be the wrong assumption. You're going to think that one letter corresponds to Z, when actually it should be corresponding to Q. Or you're going to think the second most frequent letter corresponds to T, when really it should correspond to S. All right, so the idea with this is you're not going to get it right the first time like you probably did with the shift cipher. But instead, you're going to have to take multiple attempts and multiple guesses at this. So this is the basic idea, and for the next video, we're going to take a look at an example of how we actually go about doing this.